agree anything that helps teens become successful adults is a good thing. So joining us today is a great story. We got Carla. She's the regional supervisor of LifeSet with Youth Villages. She's also our guest mentor, Miss Kalina. She's a LifeSet scholar and up to some good things in college. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. Thank you for coming in the cold. I know it's like brr out there, but hang tight. The 70s are on their way. Okay, Carla, I'm going to start with you. So I think we've had youth villages here before, and particularly kind of talking about y'all's unique set with LifeSet, but there's probably someone listening who had never heard of it before. So how would you describe Youth Village and the connection with LifeSet and what you guys do on a daily basis?
So as far as Youth Villages as a whole, we are an organization that assists with youth, their families, as well as young adults, to bring services in the home, wherever there's lack, there's challenges. But LifeSet more specifically, we're that bridge between that young adult and them aging out of foster care into adulthood and teaching them the life skills that they need in order to be successful.
Now, do they have to have plans like going into college, or is it really for anyone who's just, like you said, kind of in that gap?
So, no, they don't have to have plans for going into college because everybody's not, they don't have college on their radar. It's not something that they're wanting to do. So they can just simply, be looking for skills around employment, how to just be able to navigate adulthood as a whole. So perhaps they're finishing up high school and they just want to know, how can I build the job skills I need to be successful to sustain myself? Yeah.
So Kalina, how did you get connected with LifeSet?
So before, like the week before I came to college, I had gotten out of custody, and it wasn't something like I had a big say on because I was actually in Chicago visiting family. So it was like I'm out of this, so what do I do? I get a call from this wonderful woman named Ariel Coleman, and she was my first LifeSet specialist. At first, I was kind of shy to the idea because I was in kinship care for like about 2 years, and I had 3 different CPS workers. So I was like, I'm not really sure if I want to let somebody else come into my life and like deal with the change of them leaving. But I'm also pretty open-minded, so I was acceptable to it and agreed for her to come in and work with her. So that's how LifeSet kind of came into my life.
So, and then what did LifeSet sort of do for you? Obviously, anyone could see where you would be ready to just be your own person. Obviously, you had good head on your shoulders. You were already headed to college, which you were attending Tougaloo?
Tougaloo College.
Oh, it's on your shirt. I was like looking at you that it was on your but recognizing that, hey, maybe this may be a next phase of life where I could use a little bit of navigation. So what was LifeSet able to do for you?
So I'm a pretty independent person. I've been there for a while, like even before I came to college. But LifeSet was, like Carla had said, like a bridge. Anytime I couldn't figure it out on my own, I knew I wasn't alone. So I was able to reach out to my LifeSet specialist or my mentor now with any kind of problems that I'm facing, and they're pretty like open to me as well. Like they're not the kind of people to be like, oh, like I'm just here for a check. It's not like that. They actually are willing to help youth to become and flourish into whatever they want to become.
Well, and I think you think about when you went to college or when you stepped out of that next role, you don't really, it's like you want the advice, you may not take it, which, but at least it's always good to have that sounding board or someone to sort of talk sort of things through with. So, Carla, how did you find yourself in the position of mentoring young adults like Kalina?
So we also have what's called our YV Scholar, Youth Villages Scholarship Program. And so I always encourage staff, hey, make sure that you work with their young person, and if they're in college, and help them to apply for the scholarship program. And so anyone that's accepted to our scholarship program has to have a mentor. So for the young ladies that we've had to come into the program, I was just quick to say, hey, I'll be their mentor, and so because I'm a little far away from the front line, so I don't get to interact as often with the youth like I used to. So the mentorship allows me the opportunity to stay connected and to stay involved, in their lives, but also kind of as a passenger seat rider, allowing them to drive and just, bring
Like a
me
good
in
aunt.
when they need me. Right.
Everybody needs that good aunt in their
right.
life. That's-
Kind of like how the Big Brother, Big Sister programs, have operated. So like, what do you have going on? What do you need help with? And not, like Kalina said, not interfering, but allowing them to drive, and I just assist along the way.
I love the word mentor, and I think every young adult needs one. And it's not always a mom or dad who's able to do that in any situation. It can look like a lot. It's reminding us too, Carla, that we can be those mentors in young adults' life, no matter sort of where they are in life. So, Kalina, what did it, once you realized what LifeSet was, and that Carla was going to be more of like a mentor, or was it easy to like lean into that or lean on her? Or was there still like, what's the catch kind of to it?
Like I said, I'm very independent. Like, she can tell you like stories where like she's definitely been there for me, like tried to be there for me, and I'll just try to find my own way. But there have been times where, like, even if I can't find that way or need help getting to that way, she's like that bridge to get there. So I may end up finding a way to get there, but I have to have some kind of inspiration to ignite me to get there. So.
Specifically with children aging out of the foster care, Carla, how important is it that there is a mentor or there's someone who's standing in that particular gap for them, even if, like Kalina mentioned, they're ready to kind of break free from that because it's, not always, where someone wants to be. But like any young adult, y'all want to be on your own anyway. But how important is it for that transition?
So it's like vital, it's very important, because even for us as adults, like, we never experienced adulthood until we had to experience it. And so when you've been a child and you've grown into a teen and then you become a young adult, it's like, okay, they're telling me I'm released from custody, or it's time for me to grow up and to be an adult, but how do I do that? Mm-hmm. So it's important to have somebody to guide you through those steps. Sometimes you've been in a home where someone has always washed your clothes, and it sounds simple, but until you have to do it yourself, it's like, how do I do this? How do I sort these clothes from whites to lights to darks, and make sure that I don't get my dark clothes out and they're all bleached up, So you just need someone.
You put the towel in there.
Yes, like, you can't expect me to be an adult if I haven't been given the guidance and the skills to know how to navigate what that looks like.
I appreciate you also using that example, Carla, because we think about the big things. And obviously, Kalina, you've made the decision to go to college and thriving there, or buying a car or getting insurance. But it's also those buying groceries, or learning how to balance your checkbook, which looks different now because it's sort of in a digital world.
Yes.
And we take these things for granted that our kids, even if they're in our household, we've kind of been doing those things kind of for them. So, Kalina, can you successfully wash clothes now? Do you know how to do the lights and the darks? Or do you just throw them all in there and not tell Carla?
So this is a funny situation, because I actually just did laundry. Like, I finished getting my clothes to dry before we came here, but I definitely know how to successfully do my laundry. Actually, the first goal that I had set, it was able to be accomplished in the first day I met up with my first specialist, and it was literally opening a bank account and getting my card. So that, it may seem like small, like you had said, but it's like, it's those little things that have a big impact later on.
And we don't recognize how terrifying that probably is for a young person or a young adult who walk in a bank and go, I don't know. Like, it's very kind of sort of overwhelming. I'm glad you learned that, Kalina, because you can teach your future spouse how to, I'm now, he's 42 years old, and I look and I like, you put towels in with your dress pants? Like, were we just lazy, or did we just, completely forget our sort of upbringing to that? But no, I love this sort of pairing, and I love these opportunities for kids. And so, Carla, for youth like Kalina, how do they help or get the services of LifeSet?
So they can go to...
Actually, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
We got more with Carla and Kalina coming up next here. We're continuing our conversation with Miss Carla. She's a regional supervisor with LifeSet in youth villages. She's also the mentor to our guest, Miss Kalina, who is rocking it as a LifeSet scholar. She is a student at Tougaloo. What year are you at Tougaloo?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore. What are we studying?
I study history and data science.
Oh. History, cool. Data science, definitely needed. But good for you. Go, girl. What's the future like for you after you graduate? What do you hope to do with those two?
Every time I get this question, I'm like I don't know.
And it's okay if you don't know.
I don't know specifically what I want to do, but vaguely speaking, I know I want to help people. So whatever I end up doing, whatever opportunity like comes my way and like I tap into and I can help people, that's what I'm going to do.
You keep that mindset and doors will start to sort of open for you. Okay, Carla, as a mentor, I mean, Kalina's special. She's headstrong already, you can see, and she sort of had that vision of going to college and all of that. For some of your mentorees, is it a little bit different there at the very beginning when they find themselves coming out of foster care and entering young adulthood?
Yeah, it is because first off, they're going to always start out with our LifeSet program. And so our specialist, which Kalina's specialist, like she mentioned, was Ariel Coleman, which was awesome with Kalina. They had a great relationship. And now she has Cherie Epps. And she's working well with her as well. But they're going to always assess what their skill set is currently and then look into what they need to build on. And so from there, they look at if they're in school, what the funds are looking like, and then they apply them for our scholarship program. So that's when the mentorship kind of starts. But the mentorship technically starts at the LifeSet, admission in the beginning. So sometimes it's hard to really get them to see, hey, I want to do whatever you want to do. Because like Kalina mentioned, sometimes they've been through like state custody and they've seen different workers and they're like, okay, so are you just here because you got to be here or are you really here to help me? And so once they see, I'm all in, I'm 1,000% checked in, then they kind of let their guards down a little bit more and they see that we're just laid back. We're just moving and grooving to what you want to do and making sure that you have the tools you need to get there.
Was this the first time, Kalina, you had somebody just asking you what you wanted?
In this kind of aspect, yes. And because it was new, it was like, is this real? Like, like, are y'all trying to like, what the cameras like? So, yeah.
For those listening, and we talk a lot here in terms of foster system or like understanding that, but I think too often we overlook those of you who are those still young adults that are aging out. How important is it that we don't overlook or give up on the 18 plus?
Oh, it's very important that we don't, give up on them.
Or overlook would be the right word.
Or overlook them because they're at the peak of their lives, They're right there in that transitional moment where they're still young, so, still that youthful aspect, but also they're being approached with it's time to grow up and it's time to be an adult, So we can't overlook them because they need that guidance. They need that person that they can kind of pull on, that support. And we're big on support systems because no matter how old we get in life, we always need a support system. And so at this point in their life, this is when it's crucial for them to have the supports to help them get over that hump. A lot of times people say, well, you're 18 or you're 21, so it's time for you to be an adult. Okay,
well, you still have someone to fall back on, more than likely.
Yes, so I don't want a hand out, but can you give me a hand up?
Or direction.
Yes. Yeah. And that hand up gives you the direction that you need to know how to transition into the adult that you're professing me to be, like help me to get there. So it's very important, just as important as when they're very young and it's like we want to protect them because they're so young in their age. Well, we have to also protect them because if they don't have the guidance that they need, they'll turn to the wrong things and the wrong persons for that support.
So how can Mississippi and those listening to Good Things, Carla, help with youth villages or the LifeSet scholars? I mean, this isn't for free. I'm sure the mentoring part, a lot of your hours are, but like obviously there's money that is needed. So how can we help?
So most of our funding comes from grants and donations. So if anyone is wanting to help with the programs, they can always go to youthvillages.org, and there's a way for you to be able to help in supporting anything. You can donate any amount just to be able to help these young people continue to receive the services that they need, which is retaining staff that are skilled to be able, to implement different skill sets and interventions that are needed in their lives, because not everybody is trying to get educational skills or employment skills. Sometimes they're really trying to navigate life, and navigating life may have something to do with their mental health. They may need mental health care. They may need to understand how to communicate effectively when they've gone through so much trauma in their lives, and their trauma is misplaced, in society. So their social lives are like challenged. So they know how to channel those feelings, how to cope with them, and then ultimately be able to get over or get through them in order to get to the next steps in their lives.
Just like we would want any child in our own life
Absolutely.
to sort of do.
Absolutely.
Kalina, you got a unique opportunity here recently. You didn't get to go to the Grammys, but you got a cooler experience than the rest of us. So what happened there?
So we had the opportunity, me along with, of course, my mentor and other specialists from different areas, but me and 3 other young girls who are in Youth Villages LifeSet had the opportunity to go to Steven Tyler's galas, kind of like a Grammy viewing party. Yeah, to be very transparent, I like
you didn't know who he was?
I didn't know who he was, but like I've heard like some of his songs, and my little sister is like, she's learned how to play guitar, and she's into like rock, and I'm like, if she was here right now, like I'm over here taking videos like for her.
Yeah.
But super cool opportunity. It was my second time going to California. My first time was going to San Diego. But not only was it a super cool opportunity, but it was a space where I could share a part of my story and hear other young girls that they went through something like this too. And looking at those commonalities, it made me think like, okay, I'm not alone. Like there are other people out there that have went through certain things but are moving forward instead of trying to go backwards.
Yeah, and I think it's important too and you're super courageous, Kalina, in sharing your story, right? There's probably a lot who would just rather not open up or not share it. But I think it helps people like me and the rest listening better understand, maybe the gaps that are there, or, what's available and how we can help. And so don't ever lose that, because I think that's a special gift you have to share your story. And it's a bright light for others who may be walking something similar in that way. Yeah. And two, in terms of before that, being in terms of foster parents or foster system, not forgetting about it either is an important part to it, right, Carla? Because it all starts with all of us getting involved,
absolutely,
and sort of what's going on. So I think that's a good thing here as well. But going back to just LifeSet and youth villages and the ways that we can all stay connected, what's the easiest way just to learn more information if someone has questions about what you guys are doing?
So, of course, going to youthvillages.org, and it tells all about us, the services that we offer, not just LifeSet, but our MyPack and our Intercept programs. And then it also even talks about Janie's Fund, which is the Steven Tyler's foundation. It's his baby. It's the whole reason we were in LA, for the Grammys watch party. And so there's opportunities to donate there. If they're needing information specifically for LifeSet in Mississippi, they can email lifesetms at youthvillages.org. Yeah.
If I say Janie's got a gun, you're going to look at me strange. But
it's
the
it's the story. That's exactly where it steers from. And now we look at it as Janie has a fund, and it's funds for people to be able to donate for young girls who have gone through trauma, abuse, neglect, and actually be able to help them as they navigate through such a traumatic experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what a good twist. Also love that you've been introduced to Steven Tyler, because the girls of my era. It was all about some Aerosmith and some Steven Tyler and sort of all the things. But it's cool to know that also that what he's doing transpires all the way here to Mississippi, sort of as well. All right, girl, when you graduate and you go out and do good things, you're going to come back and tell us all about it?
I will.
All righty, doors always open to you guys. Carla, I appreciate your time as well.
Thank you so much.